fusion of agriculture and IT, the success story about a model faith-based farm community. Yun pala siya, no? Dr. Lim is the COO of Dito CME. Palakpakan po natin, Dr. Donald Patrick Lim.
Good afternoon, everyone. I remember 3 years ago when Brother Daniel and Pastor David, we got together, no, and we saw this opportunity to establish AgriPortal. No, who would have known that after more than 3 years, we're all right here now, facing each other, no, and really becoming staunch advocates of agriculture. I sit as governor of the Management Association of the Philippines. So along with my corporate hat, the Management Association is composed of more than 1,000 CEOs and chief executives of the top 1,000 corporations. Yesterday, we had our board meeting, and one of the most important agenda is really food security. Sabi nga namin, ano mo pinag-uusapan natin na kung ano-ano pang technology, digital, o kahit ano-ano. Pero we know for a fact that the war in Russia and Ukraine will really give us a massive hit. No, we've seen already how gasoline has been impacted, but food will soon be impacted also. If you know, 30% of the world's export of wheat, no, comes from Russia and Ukraine. So on top of agriculture, we also saw na later on, wheat meaning bread, noodles, biscuits, lahat yun, tataas din ang presyo. So if, for example, we are given, no, we have the most massive farmlands and we're not putting it to good use. We're relying so much on imports of rice and then lahat magtataasan. Sana tayo pupulutin. And that's why nakikita nyo na yung kahit paano, no, unti-unti, no, our inflation is going up, right? I was telling a lot of my students na before, I don't know, maybe way younger, di ba? Pag binigyan ka ng parents mo ng 1,000 pesos pang date, di mo mauubos yun eh. Ngayon, 1,000 pesos mo, di mo alam. Baka milk tea lang at biyahe, tapos na. No? Di na kayo pwede mag-movie. And that is the state of where we are. No? You know, I remember, next slide. I remember when I graduated from the Ateneo, lahat kami, required kami mag-immersion. And that time, I chose the farming community in San Simon, Pampanga. Being someone who has grown up in Divisoria, of course, we saw how modern day, well, the old day trading has how it happens. But farming is something that's very far from me. And doon ko nakita well, my foster parents there and my foster kids, 9 of them, right? Hindi ko makalimutan sila eh. Kasi when in my first night there, they actually killed one of their ducks. No, yung bibe nila, pinatay nila para i-feed ako. And what was interesting was that in that plate, when they served me that food, kinuha ng tatay yung leeg. No, and that was 20 years, more than 20 years ago. I cannot, di ko pa rin matanggal yung image. Kinuha ng tatay yung leeg, binigay niya sa anak niya, tig-isang kagat kayo dito sa leeg. Sabi ko, ang dami pa nito. Bakit yung i-share? Hindi sir, sa'yo yan. Diba? And that is when you realize, no, how pure the farmers are. No? If they have something else to give, they will really give it to you. But if you look at on the other side of it, diba? Ano ang binigay natin sa kanila? Right? In fact, it's so normal na pag sinabi mo sa, diba? Pag sinabi natin, I had a friend, sabi nga nila, anong ginagawa ng tatay mo? Magsasaka lang. Diba? Sabi ko, bakit kailangan may lang? Diba? And in fact, it's one of the most, it's a very noble profession. No one wants to do it, yet they will have to do it, even at the expense of everything. Right? So having said that, next slide. The challenge, no, as we understand agriculture and the challenges of agriculture is that ang simple lang, parang magsasaka, tapos ilalagay, no, ilalagay sa table para kainin. But the reality is that when you talk about agriculture, the stakeholders ang laki. When you talk about the literally farm to table, no, ang haba ng idadaan ng bigas, ng gulay, lahat yon. And if you think about it, we are working on, actually we're discussing so many technologies in the MAP. We're talking about rice, we're talking about tomatoes, na sinasabi nga natin, if we only have the means to adapt technology, ang laki ng nawa-waste. So for example, there are some technologies that are being done in Korea, no, in our neighboring countries na yung tomato nga, no, they use water, no, how they preserve tomatoes using water to move the tomatoes so that walang wastage. Sa atin pala, I was told only yesterday, yung tomato na harvest pagdating sa market, 60% na lang ang umaabot sa market, 40% tapon. No, if same with apples, same with a lot of the fruits kasi nga nasisira while it's in transport. And ang daming mga ganung stories, no, na bakit ang daming gutom pero maraming nasisira, 'di ba? And a lot of the farmers even sinasadya nila na kahit na masira na sa harap nila, no choice, okay lang kaysa naman ibagsak nila sobra yung presyo because it will disrupt also their pricing model. So in the MAP, where we created an emerge program where we would really work on helping, no, the agricultural community, no, and we're allocating a big chunk of our budget also to and we'll see more of that later on, no, as we launch our plans. No, yesterday we had I was with DTI Secretary Fred Pascual, who was our past president, well, who was our president, no, and we want to really push talaga that drive, no, a lot of the MSMEs to take on really the agricultural value chain. Maraming negosyo doon sa value chain na yun na pwedeng i-maximize if funded properly. So having said that, next slide. So this, when I was in my agriculture journey, nakita natin marami when I was giving talks about agriculture. One time I was giving a talk to the Department of Agriculture. Sabi nga nila, no, I was talking to them about AgriPortal. Sabi nila, ay sir, meron na kaming sariling website na inap. No, it's called yung Ikadiwa, no, Ikadiwa. And they're attempting on their own, no. Sabi ko okay yan, pero sana ma-market natin ng mas malaki pa kasi walang may alam eh. So Ikadiwa, some of the producers, no, and farmers are already placing their products on the website and they are selling there already. Next slide. So that's Ikadiwa. You can check it out. Actually, maraming mga businesses are there already, and some are farmers are placing their products there. Next slide. Yan. Also, sige, isa pa. And then we also saw another group, no, yung kita.ph. Ang kita.ph ganun din. What they do was that they also advocate, they ask farmers, no, kung meron kayong goods, ilagay mo na dito. Meron din siyang shipping and logistics company and they will attempt to bring the the produce to the city, no. So kita.ph also is harnessing the power of the sari-sari store. In fact, pwede ka nga maging distributor ng mga goods. So you can buy there at a discount, no? And then later on, you can use the website, the portal, to sell agricultural products, no? Kami naman tayo in AgriPortal, we're trying to do something different. Iba naman ang magiging model natin. We're going to pre-buy and invest, no, before even the farmer plants para may pera, hawak na nilang pera. That way, we can change the lifestyle of the farmers also because we realize, no, sila yung baon sa utang. Sila yung, before pa sila magsaka, baon na sila sa utang. Right? And hahabulin nila after. No? So, we're very happy that bits and pieces, pero walang traction. No? Yun ang reality. Next slide. And if you look at, sabi ko, i-Google mo lang State of Philippine Agriculture no? Where have we gone? Malayo pa. Marami pang kailangan gawin, right? Marami pang kailangan gawin. And we were analyzing even how and why our president, no, said nga siya muna yung DOA. Many criticize him for that. Many naman ang nagsabi na he's taking a very important look at the state of agriculture, whether that is correct or not, right? We'll see what happens. No, we're all expecting in his SONA next week or next week na malaking part dun is really pushing, no, and enforcing, no, a lot of the policies in agriculture, no, to improve the state of agriculture. Next slide. And having said that, my background is in marketing, no? So sabi ko, rather than talk about the IT part of it, maybe ibahin ko kasi marami sa inyo will talk about agriculture already, no? And I'm far from being a farmer, but my experience has been in marketing and advertising. And for me, give me a product and I will market it to the world, no? When I was looking at marketing, I analyzed, how do we propagate agriculture, our cause to more people? Because sabi ko nga, we need all the stakeholders to be in. We need, for example, our different communities to really want to take an active part in ensuring food security in agriculture. Kasi sabihin ko na lahat tayo advocates, we're preaching to the choir. You go down, no one cares. Right? So how do we make this reality, their problem also, their cause also? So there are 4 key things that, because I've seen, I've looked at it globally, ano yung mga pwedeng learnings na pwede mangyari, Okay, so allow me, it's a bit video heavy, but for me kasi sabi sa akin after lunch para mas exciting. So the first is working on content that resonates. Kailangan mag-plan tayo ng mga content. Next slide. Content online so that when people search for agriculture, it would be something that is fun and that is exciting. If you're familiar with Li Ziki is a very popular personality in China. In fact, sobrang sikat siya sa corporate. But ang ginawa niya, bumalik siya sa mountains, doon na siya tumira. Yung views ng bawat videos na ginagawa niya is really anchored on agriculture. Is really anchored on forests, preserving the forest, And imagine mo sa China where YouTube is banned, right? Sobra siyang sumikat around the world. Next slide. Click lang, isa pa. So ganun yung mga videos niya. Every video na ginagawa niya, Li Zhi, every video na ginagawa niya gains millions and millions and millions of views because of this, And parang siya yung nag-advocate, So chef siya, pero pinapakita niya yung ganda ng China. So inangkor niya yung agriculture sa food. Okay? Kaya gumagawa siya sa lahat. Siya nga nagcha-chop pati mga puno, So she has become a celebrity in China. And note again, nasa YouTube. Ban ang YouTube sa China, pero maraming nanonood. Siya lahat gumagawa, walang camera trick, walang And these are watched by millions of young people, right, around the world. And nagiging exciting and sexy na ulit ang forest, ang agriculture,
因为现在其实整个社会，就很多人他是特别浮躁的，他的生活压力很大，工作压力很大。那我希望他们在忙碌一天之后，打开看到我的视频的时候，它是轻松的、美好的，能给他减轻一些焦虑和压力感的东西，这样多好。
So ginagawa niya from start to finish, from literally harvest. So yan, maraming sumusunod sa kanya, maraming nagfa-farm na rin. Tapos they gagawa sila ng video. Urban farming, tapos luluto, gumagawa rin ng videos. Kasi gusto siyang gayahin ng mga bata. So, makita mo may mga videos pa siya, yung chinap niyang wood siya nagbubuhat. Talagang malakas. So it's a call to back to nature. Kaya makita mo even mga yuppies right now during the pandemic, maraming nag-back to farming. Kasi in the younger communities, she's really seen as a hero who's protecting the earth, advocating what is natural, and and really again literally from the ground to the table. Lahat siya gumagawa. Wala ibang gumagawa. Siya lang lahat yon, literally. Okay? Wala siyang tulong, wala siyang ano. No? I won't finish this na, but you can check out Li Ziki. Right? Li Zhi. Very popular, no? Celebrity in China. Chef turned agriculturist, no? So, parang ganun siya. Yan. Lahat natural. So she wanted to show city folk where their food came from.
那我以前就是听一个老师说，他说他们班的孩子，他们以为水稻是从
Kasi inisip ng mga
树
ibang
上掉下
tao,
来。
rice came from
那个时候
trees.
我听了这个之后，我会想说，我想要让他们就城里面的孩子知道，
Pinapakita niya
他们
gaano
是
kahirap
是从哪。
mag-harvest. Yan. Bubuhat siya. Okay. Okay, so that gives you a flavor. You can check her out online. Next slide. Okay. At the same time, nakita ko rin, no, when I was searching online sa Philippines, sa TikTok community for the younger audiences, marami na palang focusing, no, on crops you can plant to consume for 1 year. Maraming, di ba, marami ng mga plantita, marami na ring mga mag-plant, no? And we're seeing that it is slowly becoming cool. Di ba? Dati pag sinabi mo nagtatanim ka, parang ang weird, di ba? Ba't mo ginagawa yun? And in the TikTok community, we're seeing people doing eggplants, yung iba't ibang hina-harvest nila, pepper, among others. Okay, next slide. Second is all about making information accessible. So what happens is, makita ninyo when I was looking online in Facebook, there are a lot of groups already, no, organic farming in the Philippines. Mendoreñong Tisoy, no? A lot of people are already taking on the cudgels also of educating people on agriculture, how to plant, how to, special ways, special design methods on how to plant. At the same time, may nakita nga ako, no, yung Philippine Agricultural Webinar. So, ang dami nilang courses, no? So dati, I remember, 20 years ago, nag-attend pa ako sa AANI, no? Diyan sa may Magallanes, no? Nag-aral ako vermicomposting, soil production. So, but now everything is now online, and it's very accessible and very easy, no? Mushroom production, goat racing. So sabi ko nga, no, later on, we might also explore if some of you are in farming. Baka pwede papuntahin namin yung video ni Pastor David. You can create your own content, and we can put it in the archives also of AgriPortal so that it can be shared and marketed, no, much well. Okay. Next. Sige, one slide. This is done by FarmTech, no? It's an agriculture learning center, no? And ang daming content online, but at the same time, we can create something like this also for AgriPortal, no? That we can help market, no? Sila talaga, they're really into training and learning, no? But with all the experts here, maybe that's something we can explore as a project for AgriPortal, no? To continuously conduct these trainings. Next slide. One of my friends, si Atanasio, no, taga North, taga South, taga Cavite, meron siyang Terra Verde. I went to his farm, no. Ginagawa nga niya, no, farm tourism talaga. So sabi ko nga, we're exploring partnering with him also. Kasi sabi nga nila, the mindset of farming being cool has to come from nung bata pa, no? Yung getting your hands dirty. Na yung soil is not dirty. Parang ganun siya, literally getting your hands dirty has to come while they're young. And appreciating and camping there. So meron yung sila sa Terra Verde Farm, they're really, bata pa lang, they're training, no, a lot of immersion campaigns on the kids so that they become advocates of farming also. Next slide. Sige, play lang. One click. one of the things we're seeing also that in the tech space and in the gaming space, a lot of apps are also being created on farming. No, so I won't go through this. Click na. Go ahead. Okay lang. Yeah. So a lot of apps have been created, no? But I won't go through the app level, no? Kasi actually meron akong mga work on with Roblox for kids on agriculture, no? But that still has to be done. Okay, next slide. We want to urbanize the rural. When you look at sabi ko, no, TikTok, Instagram, marami ng mga plantitas out there. So sabi ko during the pandemic, somewhat nagkaroon ng pagiging cool yung pagkakaroon ng maraming plants. In fact, people are boasting and they would like to say, eto kabisado ko lahat ng plants. No, pag when they go out, alam ko yan. Fortune plant yan, kung ano plant, memorize na nila. So we're seeing again, no, that's resurgence that hopefully we get to ride on that popularity. Dati hindi naman popular yun eh. Diba? Dati parang nagtatanim lang yung nanay ko eh. Parang ganun lang siya. But right now, the middle segment, no, is also becoming very aggressive in this. Next slide. One of the very interesting person I talked to last year was Future Fresh. No, these are I think 4 of them who met up in Harvard, one of those schools, an Ivy League school, and then bumalik sila sa Pilipinas. Ang gusto naman nila, they're pushing urban farming. So ang ginawa nila is that yung negosyo nila, bumibili lang sila ng containers, tapos doon sila nagpa-plant. So one is in Quezon City, one is in Taguig. Yan. So and then nag-sell sila ng greens, no? So sila yung supplier ng, I think, Landers, SNR, among others, but you can also order online from them. It's literally fresh.
We built Future Fresh because we saw a problem that needed fixing. And that was really availability of really good produce all year round, 365 days a year, and no frills. Basically buying produce from someone you know that won't let you down. What can we do to make that a reality?
The environment is changing, and with this change in environment, we're seeing that it's harder to grow crops outside, and we have to use technologies that benefit our current situation here in the Philippines. We're giving the plants exactly what they need to grow.
So we provide each crop the lighting hours or duration that they need, the nutrient that they want to eat, the temperature requirement that they need, air circulation, and most importantly, the carbon dioxide in a correct quantity, all in an automatic system.
Because we have greater control over the processes, our produce is an experience of innovation at work. For example, we eliminate the risk of adverse weather. There's minimal wastage due to quick harvest and its close proximity to distribution centers.
One thing that's very important here is we're able to contact our customers, ask them what they're looking for and what's not available in the market. We are able to roll out different varieties of product quite fast and quite efficiently.
Basically, we want to make sure that there's no need to import when you can just buy locally and farm locally. This is something that the Philippines can benefit from and that customers want, and that people want. And we make sure that the moment that the produce is packed, that it's already going out the door. Arable land, as the years go on, is going to be less and less available. Urban indoor farming, and what we do here at Future Fresh, doesn't require that. We can still essentially feed just as much as any farm can, plus a lot more, with much less space.
So sila naman, they're ventured into urban farming. Containers lang sila, no, sa Quezon City and Taguig. And they're farming there, no. Ginagawa nila perfect yung condition ng environment. Malaki yung R&D nila on perfecting that environment, no. But this is run by 4 Filipinos, no, who were educated abroad. They came back to do this business, no. So I'm mentoring them. Magaling sila mag-harvest, maganon, pero di sila negosyante. So we're also training them how to maximize. But what is more important is we were teaching them to give back also. Whatever they're learning, right, is something they can share also to the community, so that it becomes it's something that our farmers can learn from with them also. No, at the same time, I'm really a firm believer in urban farming. No, so again with AgriPortal with Alex, we're doing our model farm already. No, near in Mendiola. So there's a barangay. So I'm part of the Air Force. So I'm a reservist. We all know that the poorest of the poor is the most vulnerable. Sila yung nagiging kaya may yung LCAC na you're familiar with, narinig NTF LCAC. What we're doing is that we want to make sure that each barangay is self-sustainable, no? So it's self-sustaining. So dapat may sarili silang food. So we're helping them create their own urban farming mechanism structure. So that everyone in the barangay can get food there, they can sell extra products there, and they will be able to feed themselves. So our model unit will be up in a month. Then lang sa may Mendiola, no? So and then after that, we will now put that in every city, no? So hopefully that becomes a model for everyone. Next slide. And finally, use influencers for aspiration. For aspiration and inspiration. Naghanap ako kung sinong mga nasa farming, no? Sorry, napunta ako kay Sharon. So kanina I started from China, no? Sabi ko, I was looking at local, marami naman. Pero I find it very interesting kasi yung space niya, meron na siya talagang siyang farm, no? Again, it's not about farmers, but how she looked at the farming space, no? And why she invested in that. So ito yung farm niya.
Actually, it's a very humble farm.
Di siya ganun ka-humble. Pero
that overlooks, well, you could see Mount Batulao from it. We called it Sweet Spring. I actually named it. It has literally and figuratively put us back in touch with the earth, with our roots, ourselves. Because what happens is when we're in the farm, we become closer. We have our pigs. They're native pigs. They're all black, beautiful pigs. And they are all fed. Pinagluluto pa namin. Bacon, our little pig that was the runt of the litter. That's why we had to separate her. And later on, when we put her back with the pigs, they didn't want her, and she felt out of place, so she befriended the dogs. And now, she's the only pig we know in the world that knows how to bark. It's a baboy na higanteng akala aso. We have a tiny house, and when we're there, even with Casey, all the 4 kids sleep with us in our rooms. We've become closer than ever. Now we say, less house, more home. I am glad that with all the advances in technology nowadays that really distract our children and steal their time away from us. There's a cell phone, there's a laptop, all these distractions. There is a farm that we can always turn to for what is real in life, what is true, and what is most important, which is really family and home and food right there. They grow, they touch, they harvest, and that my children are prevented from being spoiled brats by so many things that are directly associated with our farm.
I'm not campaigning, but I just find it very interesting lang, no, that at that level, no, at a stature, they went back to farming and they use it as a teaching mechanism for their kids also, right? To go back farming. Of course, it's nowhere near humble in our standards, but just the same, sabi ko, they're influencers, eh. All of this, right, is all with the intent that we want to make farming something that is hindi yung magsasaka lang. Right? Hindi yung it's something that's disgraceful pag wala kang pag hindi ka nag-graduate magsaka ka na lang. Diba, laging ginaganon na lang eh. So I think we have to really position it as it's a glorious profession. It's something that we have to be proud of, and we're having less and less farmers. Right, and it's a pity because we have one of the most arable lands and big and all the natural resources are real. We've given all the unfair advantages, yet we do not know how to use that. So again, just 4 key things again from a marketing perspective. As I'm a marketing person, let's start creating content, making information accessible. We urbanize the rural, we bring it to those who have the disposable income and the influence to make it happen, and use influencers so that people can aspire for it. The World Economic Forum tells us in 2021 that it's what they call the Great Reset. Nagka-COVID, nagkagulo na yung mundo, reset muna tayo. Let's all go back to what is important, what is real, what we are very passionate with. And it's really a time to rethink our world. And having said that, no, Klaus Schwab sabi nga niya, with this reset, no, the pandemic represents a rare but narrow window of opportunity to reflect, reimagine, and reset our world. As we go into this, what we call, no, yung sabi nga, the Great Reset, all of us have to reset. Di ba, sabi ko nga, maraming mga friends kami sa marketing profession, nag-back to farm sila eh. No, I have a friend, if you're familiar with Joey Ong, he was with me. Talagang literally gave up his entire condo. Siya yung Facebook page, kung familiar kayo kay Dad Bud. Talagang literally went to the farm and lived there na and started his family there. Di na siya babalik dito sa city. No, nasabi nga sobrang toxic. No, sabi magsasaka na lang ako. And he's one of the most accomplished, creative. Kaya sabi ko, sabi ko tulungan mo naman kami sa AgriPortal. Sabi, oh, okay yan. We'll help you with the design, with whatever you need. No, kasi nakikita mo unti-unti, no. And maganda rin si Joey Ong kasi he's really an advocate, no. And he's living there, no. Nipahat ang tawag niya. No, magandang nipahat. Next slide. So, like, you know, alam natin, no, yung African, as I end, no, it takes a village to raise a child, as we all know. But the reality for all of us, it takes a community to raise agriculture to its rightful place in the Philippines. And that is why it cannot be a single man's approach. We all have to work together. We are part of the ecosystem. If we're eating, we are part of that ecosystem. And we need every one of you here to make that happen. So with that, thank you very much.
Thank you once again, Dr. Donald Patrick Lim, for enlightening us on the fusion of agriculture and IT. A very timely presentation. So please remain on the stage as we request for an photo op.
Thank you so much, Dr. Donald Patrick Lim.